and I really have appreciated it. And I want to go back for just a minute. I know you all want to go home. I know it takes me 10 minutes to say good morning, but I think we need to explain ourselves here, okay? So I'll make this as quick as possible. But if you remember, we posted the job. I told you I had 22 candidates. We had 5 serious ones that came in that we talked to. We involved Ronnie Neal and Tim Taft. He was a great help. We also involved Mike Walker, who is president of the Tennessee City Managers Association. They were a great help. And of those 5, Ed Haley's name kept coming to the surface. And we thought we had a deal with Ed. As it turns out, he had a change of heart. That allowed us to go back to the drawing board, if you will, to look at those existing candidates. We found out that 3 of those had already taken positions, and we also had some calls from some other ones that were very interested, but it just didn't pan out. I just didn't feel good about it. Ronnie didn't feel good about it. And I was ready to basically go to the mayor and alderman and say, you know, we're just going to start this process again. Oddly enough, I received a phone call from Mike Walker, president of the Tennessee City Managers Association. And Mike asked the status. I told him. He said, well, I'd like to give you a name of Chris Dorsey, who I've known for a long, long time. He is from Memphis. He wasn't available when we were doing the recruiting, but recently just became available. And so I called Chris. I talked with him. We had a 2 or 3 hour phone call. He is from Memphis. He now lives in Chattanooga. I brought him to the city a couple of weeks ago. We spent a full day together. And the more I talked with Chris, the more I was impressed with his technical ability, but also his personal relationship skills and the ability to be a city manager. We had to negotiate him coming. He is coming as a long-term interim. He is going to consider moving here. And I'm going to let him address that here with his own words and his own thoughts. His wife is a surgical nurse in Chattanooga, and they are going to take this year and contemplate moving and deciding what they can do. There will be no guarantee, but the more I thought about it, the more the mayor and I met him and talked with him, we just felt it was better to go with interims that we knew could do a good job. And also, if they don't work out, they don't work out. And also, you don't have to keep paying severances to these guys, myself or Chris. And all of that is good news. If it does work out and he does move, then everybody wins. In the meantime, you have time to keep the ball going, and he is certainly willing to do that. So let me tell you just a little bit about Chris Dorsey. He is from Memphis. He's 50 years old. He has a wife named Tammy, who's a surgical nurse. He has 3 children, Andrew 12, Reagan 9, and Sydney 7. He lives in Chattanooga. He graduated from the University of Tennessee with a BA in Public Administration Political Science. He has a master's degree in Public Administration from UT as well. He is a certified municipal financial officer. That is very unusual for city managers to have. It's mostly relegated to the financial realm of the business. So that is a tremendous asset that I know that will be a big benefit to John Trustee as we look at budgets and we look at our financial matters going forward. He was part of the Municipal Technical Advisory Service. He has Municipal Technical Advisory Service Elected Officials Academy, and he graduated from the Junior Chamber International Excel Program as a certified national trainer. As a CMP, he's qualified to teach nationally those workshops. He was a Tennessee Junior Chamber of Commerce JC's state president. He's been with the Chattanooga Chamber of Commerce, Rotary Club, North YMCA in Chattanooga, Southeast Tennessee Economic Development Council, Chattanooga Hamilton County Transportation, Tennessee Municipal League, Tennessee City Managers Association, International City Managers Association. In 1990, he was supervisor of the solid waste department I skipped one. In 1987, he was budget analyst of the Division of Housing and Community Development in the city of Memphis. There he went on to the financial and budget analyst in the city of Memphis in November 1988. Then he moved on to supervisor solid waste, city of Memphis in 1990. moved on to manager, budget coordinator in 1997. Budget manager, City of Memphis in 2001. And moved on to city manager of Red Bank in 2005. And with many, many accomplishments, including working with FEMA, the Industrial Development Board, Public Works Departments. He's made the circuit, police and fire, the whole 9 yards. He then moved on to consultant to the city manager in Spring City, Tennessee in 2012, budget director of Pasco County, Florida, Office of Manager and Budget, and then finished his tenure as town manager of Signal Mountain. He's very qualified for the job. I'm very impressed with this man. And I think one of the things that impresses me the most, if you remember over the last 7 months, we have worked very, very hard to establish the roles of aldermen, mayor, manager, staff, and how those roles interact. The Board of Aldermen and Mayor set the policy and the vision. The operations people run the operations. And I have been so impressed, and I just have to say this because this will be my last time, with these aldermen and this mayor and how they are interacting with their city manager. I couldn't ask for a better board. Folks, I have worked with lots of boards. I have learned them individually, I have learned them collectively, and I know when to use them when I need to. I know when I have a budget question, a protocol question, a governmental question, I can go to Alderman Huffman. I know when I want to know how the young people in the city are thinking about social media and all of that stuff that I'm too old to think about sometimes. I go to Alderman Dakin. I go to each one of these people when I need them and collectively seek their wisdom. And I have a mayor who listens and backs me up. I cannot tell you from a city manager standpoint how important that is. Cities fall apart in their organizational structure and processes when that does not occur. And I recognize Chris as someone with that personality, that relationship building skill to keep that going after I'm gone. And I really do appreciate that. Before I turn this over to the mayor and the aldermen to present Chris, I'm going to ask for my friend Ronnie Neal. Ronnie, where are you? From MTAS to come up here. I asked Ronnie to come here. First of all, I want to publicly thank him for all the phone calls, all the meetings, all the work, interviewing our candidates, telephone calls. Ronnie is not only with MTAS, but he is an alderman for Somerville. So I'm going to ask him to say a few words, and then I will turn it over to the mayor to bring up Chris. Go ahead, Ronnie.
I can assure you it does not take me much long to say things that some people. I have very much enjoyed working with Mike these last few months. It's been a real pleasure to work with him and to work with the city of Millington. I was a consultant for Millington many years ago, and then I left and took another territory. I've been back since June as the consultant for Millington. We have been involved in studies with the police department, the fire department, the personnel department, and public works. Some of those are still ongoing, especially the water rate study that we're doing. We have very much appreciated the staff that we've worked with here. You have an excellent staff who have gone out of their way to provide us with the answers to, I know what they thought might have seemed like a lot of questions about their department, but that's the way we do these studies. And I want to publicly appreciate your staff and their cooperation and congratulate them on helping us. Usually what happens is we write down what they tell us and give it back to them. So usually it's just a formal way of telling them what they really already know, but a lot of times it does help to go back over the basics from time to time. I've enjoyed working with Mike on the city manager search. We certainly thought it was finished at one point and then had to start back up. But and we had some additional people contact us. There were people that we discussed this position with that never formally made applications, but I think that has worked out well the way it's going to soon work out tonight. MTAS is always willing and able to try to assist the city in any way that we can, And if any of you have any questions, anytime, please always call us. If we can help you, we certainly will. With that, I'll sit down and thank you all.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Because I want to give Ronnie a hand. Mr. Mayor, I turn it over to you.
Okay, I'll go ahead and call Mr. Dorsey if you come forward. I will say that we've had lots of discussions over the last couple of weeks and met together and got to know each other and learned personalities, and he did promise that he wouldn't paint everything orange until after the probationary period. I'll turn it over to you. If anybody has any questions, it's University of Memphis now.
I saw there's a goat I might have to paint after a while. But we'll talk about that. I do appreciate the opportunity to be in front of you here tonight. As you said, I grew up here in Memphis, and I love this area. My wife and family live over in Chattanooga now. And that's where my wife's family is at the moment. My family is still here in Memphis, most of them. So it's a pleasure to come back to this area and to be here and to be of service to you all. Public service is a very noble profession, as you all know as elected officials. It's something that you unselfishly give your time to, which is sometimes may not go as appreciated as you would want it to. But for most people, they know that it really means you're giving a lot to your community, that you care about what you're doing, and that's very important. It's the same thing for a lot of the department heads and a lot of the people that are here in the room as well. You know, public service is something that's in our blood. I've been in public service since I graduated from the University of Tennessee. And it's just something you like to give back to the community and know that, you know, we're not here to take the credit for things, but we like to know that we can make a difference in the communities that we're serving in. So to me, that's very important.
Anybody on the board have any questions?
Mr. Dorsey, you know that we're facing one of the most difficult challenges that we've ever had in the city, and that's establishing the school system. In your previous experience, have you had to help fund the schools? I know you didn't start one, but have you had to fund the school system, or what's your relationship been?
I have not had to do any funding with the school system. I know some of the funding formulas that are involved with the school system. I've had some discussions already with Mr. Trustee dealing with this. And part of my background is budget and finance. As we said back in 2005, when I left the city of Memphis, I was the budget manager in charge of a $300 million operating budget and a $300 million capital improvement budget at that time. So I'm very familiar with the complexities of the budgeting process and the financial acumen that's needed to be able to move forward with it.
Good, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Are you familiar that we had a flood in 2010 that about wiped out the town?
Yes, I am.
So we need you to be working on that. That's the second
I
thing.
can help with that. I've had a lot of experience with FEMA. Back in 93 or 94, we had our nice, huge ice storm here in Memphis. I was the supervisor of budget and payroll at that time at Solid Waste Management Memphis, and I had to help coordinate with FEMA and with all the departments to recover about $11.5 million from them for all the response efforts that
And
the city
the
of Memphis had
unfortunate
put
thing is
forward.
by the time you contacted FEMA, it's too late. That means you had a disaster.
Right.
We want to just prevent it from happening.
Yeah.
There's a lot of studies going on, and Mr. Perkins is involved in a lot of those. I just challenge you to stay on top of that, because we cannot afford another flood.
How about some of that great economic growth that's taking place out there? Bringing some great ideas.
I'm looking forward to that too. I met with Charles, and I forgot his last name. A lot. Today he has some great ideas about bringing some things in here to the Millington area, and I'm looking forward to meeting more with him. I think I'm taking a tour with him tomorrow on some of the areas to look at where there might be some opportunities to bring in some business and some industry. So I'm looking forward to getting involved with that also.
Well, this is kind of an abstract question, but for me, one of the things I deal with is the difference between running a city, the day-to-day, paving, everything, police, fire, and the lesser looked at nuances of running a city and attracting people to stay here. So can you speak to some of the ways that you've attracted people, and made your cities that you've worked in a good place to live, not just a place that
You're
runs
right. Part of
efficiently?
that deals with the amenities and quality of life. Because, just in addition